Good morning, Carmines. RJ back with another video. Let's get to it. Today's random Mike Schmidt item of the day, 1989 box bottom from O-Pee-Chee. This is the O-Pee-Chee version of the box bottom card that year. You have the Topps version as well. I have that. But this is the O-Pee-Chee version. 1989 Topps, or O-Pee-Chee, I should say. My random baseball item of the day. Looking through, so it's good to look through old cards, remember what you have. So I was looking through my Bowman cards the other day, found this beauty from last year's Bowman Chrome Prospects, Julio Rodriguez. So he made it into update later on for Topps, but this came out in the Bowman release. He was still a prospect when they issued these cards, so very pretty. Julio Rodriguez, Bowman Chrome Prospects. I might get this slabbed sometime in the future. We will see. Today's trivia question, in keeping with the this day in baseball history theme. I like that a lot, especially when it's baseball season, because a lot more stuff happens during the season than you'll find when I did this last in March. So on this day in baseball history, March the 3rd, 1980, this Hall of Fame player hits his final home run. He is a member of the 500 Home Run Club. Name that player. That's all I'm going to give you. It should be very easy to look up. I mean, all you got to do is find out what happened on March the 3rd, 1980 in baseball history. This Hall of Fame player hit his final home run. He is a member of the Hall of Fame of the 500 Home Run Club. So send me his name in an email. I will include my email in the description below, along with a repeat of the question you'll have today and tomorrow to answer that. And what you are playing for is pretty cool. Cal Ripken, last year's gallery. This is the printer proof parallel. Is not numbered. It's just one of the many various parallels they issue. Cal Ripken, the printer proof parallel version of last year's gallery. So good luck to everybody on that one. Send me an email and we'll go to it. So today, as I'm filming this, it is Monday morning, but I'm releasing this obviously on Wednesday. We got back yesterday from my trip down south. I had a wedding. Wedding was in a town called Greer, which is near Greensville, South Carolina. So in Greenville, South Carolina, every time I go on vacation somewhere new, if I have the opportunity, I'll look up and see if there's a minor league team in that town or nearby, and see if that team is playing at home that weekend, or when I'm going to be in town. And luckily enough, there was a minor league team in Greenville called the Greenville Drive. The name is derived from the fact that there's a lot of automotive manufacturing companies down there. There's a big Michelin plant down there and other automobile-related industries in the Greenville area. So that's where the name Drive comes from. And they're listed as the high single A affiliate of the Boston Red Sox. Just so happens they were taking on the Hudson Valley Renegades, which is a South Atlantic League affiliate of the New York Yankees. So it was essentially a Boston Red Sox, New York Yankees game, and the hometown team came out triumphant. I think it was a score of like 9-2, something like that, in the end. But I was able to take the wife along, and we enjoyed ourselves. So I'm going to show off all of the fun stuff we got this past week. I got this past weekend, starting with Friday night's game. We went to the Drive on Friday night. The wedding was not until, I was down for a wedding. The wedding was not until Saturday evening, so we had Friday to ourselves. So went to the Drive game, picked up the following items. I got myself a hat. This is Just your basic mesh hat, and that is the one of the many logos of the Greenville Drive. The wife got herself. It was getting cold that night. Not particularly cold, but it gets dark, so it gets cold. She got a big old red hoodie, but the logo. There's a picture of the logo of the Greenville Drive, one of their other G logos that they sport occasionally. All right. And obviously, for me, the most important thing for me going to a minor league game was to get the card set. And here are the members of the Greenville Drive at the moment. Really, I don't know any of the players. Maybe you guys know one, but I did know one name. I'll highlight that individual when I get there. It was Blaze Jordan, I believe. Is that what it was? Blaze Jordan? Is that his name? Yeah, Blaze Jordan is a name I had heard. He was playing first base that night. You can see the stylized G on the sleeve there, and the hats are similar to what I was sporting earlier. So this is the card set. Most minor league sets these days are created by a company called Choice. If you look down there at the bottom, down here, Choice Sports Cards, they pretty much have the exclusive contract. Not the exclusive contract, but they do most of your minor league releases, individual team packs you'll get at the stadium. This is kind of cool. You get to the back and it's got your staff, and I want to highlight a couple of the staff members. So here's your manager, Iggy Suarez. I have no idea the names of any of these guys. I have no idea who Iggy ever played for. A little thing in here. 24. He was in the Red Sox organization. Doesn't look like he ever made it to the major leagues. You got Bob Kipper as another coach. I can't remember, did Bob Kipper, yeah, I guess he did make it to the major leagues. 8 seasons in the majors. Bob Kipper is your manager. Chris Hess. Don't know Chris Hess. He was in the Red Sox. He played in the New York Yankees organization, but never made it out of the minors. This was interesting. They have on the coaching staff a woman named Taylor Jackson, female coach. She coached first base that night. Not sure, how she got into baseball coaching as a career, but she has been with a number of organizations you can see here. And then basic other trainers and things like that. But it was cool to see that they had a lady as a coach, young girl, coaching at first base. So that was Friday night. Friday night we went to a drive game. The wedding was Saturday, so the wedding wasn't until 6 p.m. on Saturday, and we had things we had to do starting around 3. But I was able to go because Greenville is the home of Shoeless Joe Jackson, and there is a Shoeless Joe Jackson museum. So I was able to take the morning, because the Shoeless Joe Jackson Museum, I'm going to put a couple links in the description below. I'm going to put a link to their website for the Shoeless Joe Jackson Museum. You can go online and you can purchase all kinds of stuff if you wanted to. I'll show off some of the cool things I grabbed. I'm also going to post, there have been 2 people I found who did video tours of the building. I do want to say a little bit about it. There's a sign out front, and you can look on the video and see the sign. It talked about the fact that the house, the museum is in the house that Joe bought and lived in his later life. In fact, he died in the house. The house was in a certain location, but it was moved back in 2006, okay? Or I should say it was moved in 2006, and the plaque outside that building today says it was moved here in 2006, and it became a museum in 2008. Now, that is incorrect in one regard. I was talking to the volunteers. The house was moved to downtown Greenville, right near the minor league stadium, in 2006. But in like 3 years ago, they moved it again because a developer put in some high-end condos or apartments at that exact location. So they moved it from one corner of the stadium to another corner of the stadium. And this one's in a very tight area that's already been developed. So it's never going to be affected by development, future development again. And so that's where it resides. So when you see that plaque that says it was moved here in 2006, do know that it meant it was moved away from its original location in 2006. But in 2020, they moved it again to its current location. Just a little side note. And you'll see, again, I don't have anything, no video that I took, but a couple of videos I'll show. See, if you want, I want you to go and see it. That's why I'm not spending a lot of time showing you videos of my tour of it. I want you to go see it yourself. Greenville, South Carolina, the Shoeless Joe Jackson Museum, right outside of the Greenville Drive Stadium. And I'll have, like I said, check out the links in the description below for more information. Now, what did I get at the stadium, or at the museum? So, of course, I got a book about Shoeless Joe. They had several, obviously. They had several, all kinds of different, souvenirs. We'll talk a little bit about some of the ones I got. So, a Shoeless Joe Jackson book. I was told that this was the best biography, according to the staff. I got a hat. This is the logo that they're using right now. I don't know if they'll ever change it. But Shoeless Joe Jackson, that's the logo that they use. All right. They were luckily they had a shirt my size, believe it or not. So I picked up a polo, and I'm just going to show you the logo again. It's a burgundy polo that I picked up for my size. Very happy to have that. And of course, the most important things to us. How about baseball cards? So they had for sale the 2019 Panini Joe Jackson 5-card insert. Maybe it might have been 2020. Maybe in 2020. There's a 5-card Joe Jackson insert set in the Panini Diamond Kings. They had that for sale. I already have that. They had there's a Black Sox little mini card set that was put out by some no-name company several years ago. They had a whole box of that. I actually have a whole box of those little card sets in my house right now too. So they had that for sale. But one of the things that was interesting that I wanted to get was this. So it's a card set. Now this is a moneymaker. This is something that they are using to fund the museum. So it costs a couple bucks. The original list price was $100, but they had dropped it to $50. They made 356 of these sets. This one, you can see it's hand numbered 110. And it's all art cards. They call this one 2021 Series 1. I'm not aware of a Series 2. A company called Woody's Sports Cards produced the set, specific for the Joe Jackson Museum. And it is a series of cards, mostly art cards, about Joe's career, and each one by a different artist. So this is just a picture of the house, which is what the museum, it looks like this is the museum, but they added on a little bit to additional structure. That's Joe sitting in his front yard with his dog. And then all the rest are various art cards. Each one has a bio on the back, a little bit about Joe and a little bit about the artist who did it. I recognize this one right away. This one was a gummy card because I have the Mike Schmidt version of this. It's like a colored pencil artwork by some guy. Goes by the name of Gummy Art, Mike Noren. And he actually has a set of cards available. And I picked up the Mike Schmidt version of his card many years ago. Well, not many years ago, but a while ago. So these are all the art cards you can get. There's 356 sets. And again, because it's a museum, and this is the way they're funding the museum, it's going to cost you a couple bucks. So bear that in mind if you want to get it. I think it looks cool. It's right up my alley, a full set of cards in a little box. and I can add to my box set collection. Couldn't find it on the tradingcarddatabase.com just yet. I'm hoping that they will update their list in the future and get that right. Get this list of cards on it because it's a real card set, obviously. 356 sets because that was Joe's lifetime batting average. So if you want to, please feel free to go online to the Joe Jackson Museum and purchase one of those card sets. Also, some of the other interesting things they had a couple bricks available from Old Comiskey Park. You could buy a brick from Old Comiskey Park. But they also had for sale a few bricks from the house itself, the Joe Jackson house, because when they moved it, they actually temporarily broke it in half. They separated it somehow. Don't ask me how. I'm not the engineer, the structural engineer to do that, but they separated the house when they moved it in two halves, and I guess they had some bricks left over, or bricks that they needed to replace or something. But you could buy a brick. Now the Comiskey Park bricks were $100. The Joe Jackson house bricks, $250. So I passed on that. I really wanted one, but I'm not a Joe Jackson super collector or anything crazy like that. So I know eventually I would have bought the brick, and then eventually it just would have been a brick on my mantle, and worth $250, not to anybody. So anyway, so that was my trip down south, showing off the souvenirs I picked up that weekend. Just got back again as I'm filming this. It's Monday morning. Just got back last night from down south, so I'm taking the day off and catching up on all my videos. So I hope you appreciated that. Do check out the links below. Take a preview of the Joe Jackson Museum if you're down in Greenville, South Carolina. Take a stop by, swing by the stadium, check it out. They have a statue of Joe Jackson in front of the stadium too. I was able to snag a couple pictures of that, and just had a great time investigating a new area of the world and the card-related stuff pertaining there too. So, all right, so appreciate you watching. Please consider liking, subscribing, commenting, and all that jazz. Don't forget the trivia question. Take a look at all the information in the description below. Hope you will. Come back on Friday for one more thing. I'm going to do a mail day on Friday, so come back for that, all right? Thanks for watching. Take care.